This segment, we are hosting Lorne Weil, who is the chairman of Inspired Entertainment, which at one time, I guess you would say, was a privately held UK company, which is now publicly traded here in the United States. And Lorne, you're a familiar name because you were the longtime CEO of Scientific Games. So tell us a little bit about, for the folks to whom you might be new, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, in brief, as you introduced me, I spent about 20 years building Auto Tote into what became Scientific Games. After I retired from Scientific Games at the end of 2013, I formed an entity called Hydra, which I took public on NASDAQ, and then used the Hydra public entity to acquire what was at the time Inspired Gaming, and we changed the name to Inspired Entertainment. Now we're operating as Inspired Entertainment, listed on NASDAQ and operating in many parts of the world.
What attracted you to Inspired?
Well, I had actually known Inspired for many years while I was at Scientific Games, and we actually looked at it as a possible merger candidate a couple of times. They had then some very exciting technology, some very exciting products, some terrific customers, but it somehow never worked out. And then when I left Sci Games and I formed Hydra, and we had this vehicle, by a crazy, fortuitous set of circumstances, the private owner in the UK was interested in talking with us. We initiated the conversations, and luckily we were able to arrange a merger.
And you're back in the gaming business.
It's a life sentence, actually, Frank, and like many other things in life, like kids and other stuff, so yeah, I am back in the gaming business.
Well, tell us about the product lines that Inspired has, and what inspires you to believe these are the products of the future?
Well, the two main products of Inspired, or product areas, one which we call server-based gaming, which essentially are video lottery machines networked to a central server, and through that network, all kinds of interesting things can happen, like the distribution of new content and so forth. So that is one of our main business, and the other is a business we call virtual sports, where we create insanely realistic computer-generated sporting events that people bet on. So those are the two, server-based gaming and virtual sports.
Does virtual sports benefit in any way with from the proliferation of legalized sports betting?
Based upon experience that we've had in Europe, which is really where our virtual sports business exists right now, the positive impact should be tremendous. There are very, very significant demonstrated synergies in Europe between virtual sports and regular sports. So in, for example, the UK, Italy, and Greece, where they have had betting on sports for years, and there are thousands of sports betting shops. Thousands of these shops offer our virtual sports alongside soccer, basketball, hockey, etc. And the synergy between the two is phenomenal. So we see the growth of let's say real sports betting in America as a tremendous potential catalyst to the growth of virtual sports in the States.
You got a small company in a big industry. How do you see it developing over 2 or 3 years?
Well, I think the major opportunity for us and the major focus for us over the next 2 or 3 years will be in creating a business in the United States. When we bought Inspired, there was no business activity in the States at all to speak of. All of our business is in UK, continental Europe, particularly Italy, Greece. We have a very fast-growing and profitable online business entirely outside the United States. And so our focus since we acquired Inspired was to lay the groundwork to build what we think will be a big, fast-growing, very profitable business in the States, both on the gaming machine, server-based gaming side and on the virtual sports side. So the big difference we'd expect in 2 or 3 years would be to have a business in America of equivalent size to the business that we have right now in Europe.
Okay, great. And that kind of touches on the next question, which is, what would you like investors to best understand about Inspired?
Well, I'm kind of a one-trick pony, and there's certain kind of business model that has always appealed to me. So the thing that attracted to me about Inspired and that we will build on is the fact that it is a technology-based, B2B, gaming-oriented company. 95+% of our revenue is from recurring revenue contracts. So every year we don't have to go back and resell what we sold last year. Most of our revenue is participation-based. So if we can help our customers grow their revenues, which we are very good at, we then grow our revenues. And the nature of the business is that it has very significant operating leverage. So as our customers' revenues grow, our revenues grow, and our margins grow even faster because of the operating leverage. And you can see this in our performance over the last 3 or 4 years. So we have a very clearly developed, articulated business model and strategy. And the plan is simply to grow, but not compromise any of those characteristics.
Final question.
Sure.
What would you like people to see when they visit your booth?
Well, they have to see the content on the video lottery games because they're phenomenal. And in every major country in Europe where we participate, we have typically the highest performing, highest daily average games, and it's all because of the content. And they need to see the virtual sports because until you see it, you really can't believe your eyes. And to American audiences, the game to see right now is our football game, which we're just introducing. And it's scary how cool the graphics are. I mean, it's really fantastic. So those are the things.
Sounds great. Lorne, very good overview. Thank you.
My pleasure.